we've seen some tremendous outcomes in the last 10 or 15 years, but particularly in the last 5 years as we create some focus. I think, some of the highlights over the last few years, we organised and scheduled a listening session with the FDA. The idea behind this was to impress upon the FDA the difficulties that we have as a rare paediatric disease in bringing new treatments and new drugs through to the FDA for eventual approval. It was a very successful meeting. You will see that is actually captured on our website, and it's also linked back into the FDA. So that basically means the FDA are now aware of the difficulties that we face in trying to get approval for new drugs as we go into clinical trials, which means that the lens they review our clinical outcomes on is slightly different, and hopefully will help us progress drugs more smoothly through to market approval for a JM indication. We've got a number of clinical trials that we've successfully funded to look for better treatments. I'll go into some of those in a little bit more detail when we talk about the different specific drugs that we're talking about. These more often than not are repurposed drugs, so they're drugs that are already on the market, and we're just looking to see how effective they would be in the JM patient population. We've invested a tremendous amount in different research groups to advance treatments for cured JM or for JM care. This includes everything from basic research. We look at breakthrough genetics. We've looked at genomics, particularly through the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. The other thing that we've actively funded, which has been really quite exciting, is the National Centre for Advanced Translational Science, which is an offshoot of the NIH, have developed a robot-based program whereby they've isolated some muscle cells that mimic JM, and they've been successful in screening every approved drug that's on the market in the USA through that particular assay system. So you can imagine the logistics behind doing that. So we funded a fellow at NCATS that worked diligently for several years to get this assay system up and running. Did it extremely successfully, and we've got some really interesting outcomes from that. Again, I think critically, the other thing that we've done is we've been forming new relationships with a range of biotech companies to look at how we can translate some of these drugs that are already on the market for slightly different indications, such as JIA and some other autoimmune diseases, and really try and provide some evidence that we fund programs to provide the evidence to the drug companies to impress upon them that it's actually a good idea, it's good science to actually look at developing their drugs for JM patients. And, the drug companies that we're currently trying to influence, folks like Pfizer, BMS. So quite often these are fairly big major players in the drug discovery, development and marketing game. So we're actively involved with quite a number of larger pharmaceutical companies, and also some smaller ones that have got some real potential to have game-changing drugs that we're highly aligned with.